My name is Dr. Shahan Das. I'm a consultant forensic psychiatrist. I assess mentally disordered offenders for a living so that you don't have to. Now, about a week ago, I did a review or reaction video to HI REN. And wow, you guys are passionate fans, let's put it that way. There was a lot of feedback, a lot of it critical. So later on this video, I'm going to give my rebuttal to those REN fans. But one theme that kept coming through was everyone was saying, you have to watch Sick Boy. Please do a reaction video to Sick Boy. So here I am. This is my honest reaction to Sick Boy. I've not seen this video all the way. Let's get started.
Hi Ren, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for seeing me.
Looking at your file here, it seems there's a very apparent interplay with the emotional state in your physical body. Have you ever heard of the trauma response?
I don't think so.
Basically, our bodies can get stuck in a negative feedback loop. Our subconscious can repeat patterns from the past, which can have a pretty drastic downstream effect on our biology. Essentially, your mind is
Okay, so what I'm getting, I mean, obviously the title Sick Boy is a bit of a clue here, is that Ren is telling a story. I presume it's a story of something personal that he's gone through where he's got physical symptoms and it feels like he's trying to report them to this doctor, therapist, and this person's saying that it's basically related to trauma or related to your mental state. I have seen from other comments in my previous video that he had Lyme disease and this wasn't diagnosed properly till later on. So I'm presuming this is about his experience of this whole thing. Obviously, he's not started rapping yet, so this is just sort of setting up the situation. Not really liking the way that the medic is being portrayed, but let's watch a bit more.
Sick boy, bitten by a tick boy, looking for that fix boy, anabolic steroids, damn so, poster boy, pass out, white noise, quick fix, snake oil, I'm about to break boy. Oh, what a shame, he's in pain, have another go, take another pill, here, take a couple more, let's see how you're doing in another week or so, you'll be feeling worse when the side effects will show, do you realize?
Yeah, so what do I think? I suppose my reaction is pretty similar to many things that I said for HI REN. I think that Ren is a really good rapper. I think he's got an interesting way of making concepts about something that's quite complicated and medical into like a tune, which is quite original. It's about talking about something unique. I suppose one issue that I have is that it's easy to, well, this clinician's not coming across particularly well. And if this is his real lived experience, then absolutely that's fine. There's no problem with that. And he's giving a voice to people that have been through this. I suppose my reservation, so I wouldn't even use the word problem, my reservation is as long as that is actually his experience, he's not just kind of jumping on the gravy train of just bashing medics and clinicians, because I think that's a really sort of obvious trope to do. I mean, I suppose I am biased because that is my profession. I do feel protected, but I just think there's a lot of criticism, like all Hollywood films. I can think of the Joker recently, or of Joker, I should say. It's just really easy. They're just like a really easy target. But if that's what he felt, then I think that's absolutely fair enough. It does feel like this doctor, if that's what she is, just sort of pushing pills towards him, is not listening to him, which I suppose is the whole point of the video. Losing patience with the process. You'll be feeling worse when the side. One bit of helpful feedback that I got from HI REN is that I should always go back a little bit for like 10 seconds so I don't miss when I'm commenting. So I've just done that. Derealization, medical patient, losing patience with the process, walking hand in hand, resulting complications with the medication, inflammation, dehydration, inhalation, aggravation, building up my toleration. Drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown, soccer, drown. I've been feeling like I'm drowning with my feet upon the ground. I've been screaming, I've been shouting, but I never make a sound. I've been looking for a way out, but I always seem to drown.
Is this all making?
I have to say, I like the way he raps. Not everybody that raps has a flow. It's a good instrumental. It's basic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because he is able to sort of flow well. Like his voice sounds like he's actually rapping. It sounds like he knows what he's doing as opposed to somebody that's just not a particularly good lyricist.
But I always seem to drown.
Is this all making sense, Ren?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. What I propose we do is we try to pinpoint the exact experiences from the past that are keeping you stuck. What can you tell me about your childhood?
I can't really think.
It's okay if nothing comes up right away. What I'd like you to do is take some deep breaths with me. In and out. In and out. Good. Now
So I think this clinician, psychiatrist, doctor, whatever, is intentionally being portrayed as being quite patronizing. So she's kind of pushing him, but not particularly helping him, I think. that's what he's trying to convey. I mean, I suppose that the flash of her looking like a pig as she's looking right now is like a theme that is kind of anti-establishment, anti-psychiatry, which Ren had in the first video as well. I suppose it's a little bit mixed, isn't it? Because on the one hand, she's pushing drugs on him. On the other hand, she's asking him about his childhood. On the other hand, she's giving him like breathing relaxations. I mean, I get it. It's not like a documentary, so it's not supposed to be a realistic depiction. It's supposed to be like a summary of many different appointments that he might have had. And I suppose I'm purely commenting on that this is quite unrealistic. You don't do all of those three things at the same time in the same appointment in such quick succession without trying to do any of them properly. But again, I think that's what he's trying to say. Let's go back a bit.
in and out. Good. Now tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's it. We're given everything we need and we commoditize it. We consume, we destroy like the parasitic. Science tells us that it's suicide and still we commit. I'm not sick, we are sick. We are standing on a cliff in the name of progress. We jump from place to place. I'm not sick, I'm the virus, you're the virus, hypocrite. How can you sit there with a smile on and tell me that I'm sick? Sick boy, looking for a fix, boy. Push it down in public, quick pose for the pick, boy. Record label meetings that come modify your gift, boy. Why you so upset? Don't you wanna be a rich boy? No, industry is cutthroat. I've been
I might have missed something, and remember this is the first time I've heard it, and I definitely will go back and listen to it again, just like I did with HI REN, because I think this is a compliment. So I'm saying two things. I'm saying that I'm getting a bit confused by the message because it seems to start off with him having this sort of role, or being unhappy about this role of being physically sick and being told that it's kind of in his mind, and I can understand why that'd be frustrating. I suppose I'm getting a bit confused by the message because it starts off with that and now it's gone to capitalism and record companies and the record industry being cutthroat. But then I think he's also saying that that's part of that. He's just giving an example of how the whole world is sick. Have I got that right? You guys probably understand it better than I do. So I suppose that does make sense in a way, but it's just the message seems to have changed quite quickly, and I'm struggling to keep up. And for all you Ren fans, I'm sure you're going to have a go at me. I'm not saying there's something wrong with what he's doing. For me personally, I'm struggling to process it this quickly.
industry is cutthroat. I've been doing bits by myself, swimming backstroke, walking on a tightrope, rapping with a slit throat. The way that we persist is like the ending of a bad joke. As the people evoke, we're complacent to assailants and we do it with hope. Counterintelligence is like the behold. Rape the earth of all resources and we bleed it for gold. And you bleed it for wealth, we bleed it for fame. But when you bleed it, can you tell me what the fuck will remain? And I'm bleeding myself, I'm bleeding my brain. While I'm bleeding, I'm the reason, cause I'm doing the same.
Okay, so that's it. So yeah, my overall thoughts, I like it. I think it's an attention-grabbing song. I think the lyrics are good. I think the beat is good. I have my reservations about whether this is actually his experience, in which case it's absolutely reasonable. And I just hope that he's not jumping on a bandwagon. But I don't think he is actually. This feels too personal. I'd say, if I'm being honest, I preferred HI REN just because it was longer. It was a bit cleverer. It was a bit more poetic. And the concept to me was a bit more original because you had like the devil and the angel and the two voices. This was also a concept. It was, a patient saying what he really thinks to a doctor, which he might not be able to say in real life. But I just preferred HI REN. I think also because it's longer. So HI REN was 9 minutes. This is, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So there's more of it to enjoy. So that's one of the other reasons. Okay, right. Now, I don't know if any of you who originally saw my video are on this video, and if not, you should go and check out the comments because they certainly make for interesting reading. Right, I'm a big boy and I wear big boy pants, so if I put a YouTube video out there, I should be able to accept feedback and criticism, so I absolutely do. But at the same time, I've got my own comments about it. I've made some notes. And these are my thoughts. So for you Ren fans, this is what I think of the comments that I've received. Some of it was actually very helpful. So for example, I was told that I need to rewind a few seconds because I'm missing things on the HI REN video, and I've been doing that in this video, so thank you for that. Thank you for putting me on some of his music. So some of you suggested tunes that I should listen to, including this particular video review, so that's also very helpful. I suppose the overwhelming kind of theme that I got from the comments was criticism about not being patient enough and not understanding where Ren was coming from. And got a few of these on my phone. There were some comments about how that basically makes me a really bad psychiatrist. So here's one. Your initial reaction for him taking too long to get to the point and quit wasting your time is why people stay away from all doctors. Wow, that's a very strong viewpoint, isn't it? I don't think people stay away from all doctors. I think it's the opposite. I think people can't get appointments for doctors. But I do understand the frustration of not being listened to. And I think absolutely that has to do with some doctors because they lack empathy and they lack patience. And I think that's a problem. I also think that it's only fair to acknowledge that doctors themselves are under a lot of pressure. So, for example, GPs in the UK have about 10 minutes per patient, and they have to do the admin and write all the prescription stuff in between. And I know for a fact, because a lot of my good friends are GPs, that they don't feel that's enough time, but you can't take longer. And the reason that you can't take longer is simply because there's a patient list. So if you were to take double that time in seeing your first 5 patients in the morning, you would not be able to see the other patients in the afternoon. So it's not like you're intentionally being impatient. It's just literally those are the restrictions placed on you. But anyway, that was a criticism directed at me personally. So another one was, another comment, whoever gave you a medical license should revoke it immediately. Your attention span is way too short to be in your field. With respect for that and these kind of comments, I would disagree. And the main reason is this. When I did a review as a reaction to a music video, it wasn't a psychiatric assessment. Ren isn't and wasn't my patient. He wasn't there to try and convey his frustrations to me, for me to listen to give a diagnosis and come up with a treatment plan. And of course, if he was my patient, of course I would listen. How would I have continued a career for this many years if I switched off all patients after 30 seconds? That wouldn't make sense. And if he was my patient, I would have empathy towards him as a human being, and I would want to spend the time because professionally I'd have to do an assessment. But, and this is the key point I'm trying to make, he's not my patient. It wasn't me assessing him or diagnosing him. It was me reviewing a music video. And I suppose the grey area is that I'm doing it with my psychiatric lens, in that I am an expert and I do have psychiatric knowledge, and my intention for doing that review is to pull out some of the psychiatric issues and explain them in a scientific way. Not that he's not able to explain them, I'm sure he is, but his job is to make it into an art form, make it into music. And what I thought would be interesting was to do the other way around. But I completely respectfully reject the fact that just because that tune didn't grab my attention in the first 30 seconds, that means that I'm a bad psychiatrist. I don't think that's fair at all. So to me, that's the equivalent of watching a film and finding it boring, and you guys saying, no, you're not allowed to find it boring because you're a psychiatrist. It doesn't make sense. So off the top of my head, like I watched The Irishman recently, The Revenant is another one, and I found these films to be boring. Irishman, I switched off after 45 minutes. So you telling me that makes me a bad psychiatrist because I should have been more patient to have listened for longer, because that doesn't make sense to me at all. Another common criticism for Ren was that I should have studied him instead of giving a reaction to like exactly that. And I disagree, because this was supposed to be a reaction to the first time that I watched the video. And I do think it's a valid point to say that an intro to a song has to be attention grabbing in this world where we have literally tens of thousands of probably new music videos that are made every week by professionals and amateurs. You have to be able to grab people's attention. The guy's obviously talented. He's obviously got a fan base. He's obviously good enough to not have to do that to the same degree. But as a new person watching the video for the new time, that's what I was looking out for. But I suppose the theme that I got from a lot of your feedback was that you seem to have a lot of hatred for somebody that had a different opinion to you. And the irony, I think, is that I actually quite enjoyed the music video. If you watched my reaction, I said that I did like it in the end. I just didn't really like the first 30 seconds. So either I'm missing something and I'm completely misinterpreting the comments, or you're saying I liked something for 9 minutes, but you, Dr. Das, only liked it for 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and therefore you're not a good psychiatrist and you deserve our hate. And I don't think that's a very fair way to react to a reaction. I don't think I'm saying this very well, so actually I'm going to get somebody else to step in and explain it better to me.
So I want to carry on this point for creative types who get affected by this, because I don't think as human beings we're meant to be subject to this many opinions. Say if you're a musician like 20 years ago, or a creator or whatever, you'd live inside your bubble. So you'd have your fans that come to your show. The people who didn't like you just wouldn't come to your show. You wouldn't know about it. You wouldn't have awareness of a bunch of people like slagging you off. But the internet makes that possible. So you hear like loads of good opinions, but also loads of bad opinions, and it can get really overwhelming. But you won't please everybody. And if you were to please everybody, you'd be very vanilla, and no one wants to be vanilla. Like, there's going to be people who hate what you're doing, and that's fine, and more power to them. And there's going to be people who love what you're doing because your unique experiences relate to those people. So don't let hate fucking drag you down. Like, I feel like if your things met with opposition, you might probably be doing something right. So yeah.
So yeah, thank you, man. That really helps. So I agree with that word, vanilla. I think that a reaction video should be honest, and I should be able to balance what I liked versus what I didn't like. If you're saying that I have to like all of it because you do, then what's the point of even me making a reaction video and you even watching it? Like, I've seen some reaction videos on YouTube for stand-up comedy, because that's one of my most passionate interests. And I've seen some videos where they just see the comedian and just laugh the entire time and say that's funny. When I've watched those videos, I've thought, well, that was a waste of my time, because there's no kind of analysis, there's no conversation, there's no discussion. So that to me is boring. I want to make content where I'd give you my honest opinion, and that was my honest opinion on HI REN. I didn't like all of it, but I liked the vast majority of it. So I am doing this to start a conversation. You're allowed your opinion, that's fine, but I think you just need to be reasonable about whether it's relevant to my profession or not. But anyway, I'm sure you've got your opinions on this, and I'm sure you're very ready to tell me what you think, I think is what I got from my last video. So tell me what you think in the comment section. Have I completely missed the point? What am I doing wrong? Explain it all to me, and let me know what you thought of my reaction to this video and any other REN videos or music videos you'd like me to give my honest reaction to, which I'm afraid might not be exactly 100% what you want to hear for every single bit, but it is what I think. Anyways, sorry if I'm ranting too much. Have a blessed day, and remember, stay chill.